and the receipt of a paper check. It's not just a way to speed things up, however. There's a clear security benefit when e-filing. The IRS explains mailed-in returns are an opportunity for identity thieves, some of whom raid mailboxes in an attempt to get people's social security numbers and other info, potentially even stealing your return in the process, Smith explains.
Electronic filing is really the best way to go. It's a more accurate return. About 9 out of 10 people file that way. More do it every year.
I'm James Flippin.
Your smart speaker can play your favorite sports station. Just say, play 96.9 The Game on iHeartRadio. WYGM Orlando. WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. FM 96.9 The Game. The home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Yes, we are loud, live, and local on this fine Thursday morning, with so many ways to listen to us. FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD. You can listen to us on HD Radio 101.1-2. You can listen on your free iHeartRadio app as well. You can also listen on your smart speaker. You can watch us on social media. Just go to YouTube and look for Open Mic Live Stream. Search for that, and you can see us live and in color. Who can you see? You can see me, first and foremost, Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. You can also see Adam Reardon. I'm pointing at him right now. He's right over there. He's the deceptive intellect. And, of course, Austin Pastolka, he's over there, and he's the Sultan of Sound.
That's right, Mike. I am the Sultan of Sound, but not only that, I'm the Sultan of Solitaire. I downloaded a Solitaire app and I've made $8 because I'm so damn good at Solitaire.
Why don't you get some cards and play real Solitaire?
Can I make money playing real Solitaire? I don't think so, Mike.
What is this, a gambling app?
Kind of, yeah. It's Solitaire Cash. I'm gonna listen. I'll put it up on my social media if you want to join in. I've got no stake in this at all, but listen. Let me tell you. Solitaire, man, it's big time money.
People still sit around with cards and play Solitaire like they did back in the good old days?
No.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you right now. So. They don't. My grandfather plays Solitaire on his computer like 4 hours a day. He doesn't shuffle up the cards, deal them out. No, he's got a computer to do all that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hey, we want to hear from you throughout the course of the show. You can call us 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. Do not forget 7:10 a.m. this morning and every morning we have your chance to double your stimulus with an extra $1,400. Again, 7:10 a.m. every morning, including this morning. Make an appointment. We like to begin each and every show with our open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from the great race car driver Mario Andretti, who once said, and I quote, "If you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough," end quote. Give me a deeper meaning to that deceptive intellect.
It actually kind of goes contrary to what we try to tell people. It's like, you always got to stay in control. Sometimes I think he believes that if you're going too slow, you're not really going to make the best progress. So if you're playing it too safe, if you've got everything under control, Well, hey, wait, what's the quote again? Because I don't have it in front of me. I don't want to make.
If you have everything under control, you're not moving fast.
You're not moving fast enough. That means that you are. I mean, you are taking it at too easy in a pace. If there is no, I mean, if you're not challenging yourself, you're not challenging yourself, is what it is. What he's saying is said, look, if you're going too slow, you're not challenging yourself. So challenge yourself. Make it difficult to go through those S curves in Formula One. Okay.
Yeah.
Landretti, was he a Formula One driver? I know he was IndyCar, but did he ever do Formula One?
Yeah, I think he drove them all. I think he was in NASCAR. I think he was in the day. Did he win the Daytona 500 as well at one point? Or maybe that was AJ Foyt.
AJ Foyt, I think. AJ Foyt.
Yeah. Maybe Andretti too. All right. Let's start with the Orlando Magic. Do we have some music? Huh? Yeah. That's right. How'd that taste, Brady Ackerman's Phoenix Suns? Orlando Magic. Yeah. Beware. Go get ya. Hey, if this was Evan Fournier's final game with the Orlando Magic, he at least made it a memorable one. Fournier hit an off-balance driving layup with 6.4 seconds left, then had a hand in the final defensive stop as the Magic beat the surging Phoenix Suns 112-111 Wednesday night at the Amway Center. Here's the highlights.
MCW on the attack, spinning, firing it up. It is no good. He rebounds his own miss. Trying to go back up again. Count the basket and a foul. He would not be denied. Vucevic backs in. Double team, spins away. Knocks it down on a fadeaway J by Nikola Vucevic. Down by a point. Fournier and Vucevic pick and roll. Evan accelerates into the middle. Evan off the glass and in for the lead. 112-111. And a timeout by Phoenix.
The thing I liked about it is this. When you play the elite teams, it starts with competing with them. And, you could tell right from the beginning that our guys were ready to, we're all in terms of fighting for the win. And I think that's what we did for 48 minutes.
That was Magic coach Steve Clifford, of course. I want to play a clip from Evan Fournier because after the game, he was talking about the possibility of him being traded by today's NBA trade deadline and talked about Orlando and what it's meant to him.
That's a question. I can answer that question for a very long time because, well, if I go into detail a little bit, and you look at my career. So I left my home. I left the apartment where I lived with my parents when I was 13, and since then, I never stayed in one place for more than 2 years, So the fact that, I've been here for 7 years, I had a son here, I got married. It means more than a lot because, it's kind of hard to put words into it. I got traded here when I was 21 only. Now I'm a total different man. I'm a total different player. I have a lot of love for the franchise and people that work here, you guys included. So I mean, if it's the end, it's the end, But I obviously love the franchise and the city. So thank you for the question, but that was my short answer.
That was Evan Fournier. That's pretty cool to hear. Again, he left France when he was, 13 years old, hasn't lived any place longer than 2 years before arriving in Orlando 7 years ago. Said he feels a connection to Orlando that he won't forget if he gets traded today. I think sometimes we forget, guys, that these players aren't just entertainment commodities. They are real people with families who establish a connection in a community. Maybe their kids grow up here, make some friends in school. Maybe they make friends in their neighborhood. Maybe their spouses have jobs or a network of friends that they really like within a community. So it was kind of cool to hear Evan Fournier express what it's like just to live in Orlando, right?
Yeah, I think sometimes we look at athletes and we think they live this totally separate life or different life than we do. Only in the bank account, really. I mean, they've got kids to raise. They're trying to do it. Two parents in the household, sometimes one parent in the household. Hey, listen, sometimes Mike Bianchi may get offered a job at the New York Post or the New York Times or whatever the big newspaper is, in this country. And you know what? The only major difference is this. When Mike Bianchi decides to take the job with the New York Times, Mike Bianchi decides to take the job. When the Orlando Magic decide that Evan Fournier is going to play for the Chicago Bulls, the Orlando Magic decide that. And that's the only major difference, is that you can't be traded in your job. But you
be fired.
You can, but
be fired without the guaranteed contract.
But nobody's telling you got to relocate your family at that point, because you can find another job in that same town. But his maturity, to me, just smacks of a European who has grown up around sports where they have transfer fees. When teams get relegated, the best players move up. Yes, you'd love to stay in the same place at the same time or for a long time. But players move around. They get sort of with the transfers and stuff like that. He understands this business. Hey, listen, if this is the end, it's the end. I've enjoyed my time here. My best years as an adult have been spent here. I'm gonna love every minute of it. But if it's time to go, it's time to go. This is what you sign up for to be a professional athlete. The downside of what's Fournier making? $10 million? What's he making a year?
He's making more than that.
More than that? Okay.
I don't even know.
That's the downside, is that at any moment they can tell you, hey, listen, all the friends that you made in your neighborhood, the friends your kids have at school,
17
million. For $17 million a year, you gotta wave goodbye to all those people in a week. Okay? And that is the give back of making $17 million bucks a year, is that at any point somebody besides you or your spouse gets to decide when your time in that town is over.
Yeah, and again, we can all the attention has been on Aaron Gordon because he made the trade request, and Aaron Gordon is the player that it seems that a bunch of other NBA teams want because of his athleticism and potential. But I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. All right, if you ask me, Evan Fournier has been a more valuable member of the Orlando Magic. Not the fan favorite or any of that, but just as far as value to the franchise, what he brought to the basketball floor, I think Evan Fournier was more valuable to the Orlando Magic over the last 7 years than Aaron Gordon was. Just my opinion. What do you guys think? Give us a call, 407-916-8255. We're going to get into all the NBA trade deadline news. We'll have Brandon Kravitz, our own Brandon Kravitz, at 8:15. He's obviously a close member of the Orlando Magic radio crew, so we'll talk to him about Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier at 8:15 this morning. Straight ahead, though, I have a spontaneous text question. I just don't want you guys to be average Joes. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
Hey, this is Frank Caliendo. Pretend to be Charles Barkley, so don't be a knucklehead. Yeah, baby, do a little John Madden.
We're a little spider through Y banana. I'll tell you what, you're listening to Open Mic, man. These guys are unbelievable. What's Open Mic?
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Welcome back to Open Mic. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Go on Twitter at 969 The Game. We have a bunch of polls out. We want you to vote on our polls. We have every poll you can imagine except a fishing poll up at 969 The Game. And a telephone poll. We don't have a telephone poll up either, but we have all sorts of other polls we want you to vote on. We have a caller on the line we haven't heard from in quite some time. Magic Tom on line 3. Magic Tom, what is up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hey, I just wanted to point out that there's a couple major things. You know, obviously athleticism is one of them that is the main difference between these two. And, you know, Fournier is cut from a different cloth than Gordon. Gordon obviously is very similar to Bacon and Ennis and the rest of the guys. You know what I mean? Fournier is obviously a European player that can shoot. So he would be considered, you know. So it's a totally different thing. And not only that, I think with Fournier, you got to consider the reason Vooch is happy here is not just because it's Orlando. It's because Fournier's his best friend. And they just both had kids. They're both just married. You want to, you know, if you got to weigh all that in. If you want Vooch to stay here and be happy, you know, you better make a move on Fournier. You know, I mean, you just let Fournier walk out the door. Well, just wait till Vooch will be the next one putting up the white flag, saying, "Hey, you know, I just don't have the same feel." You know what I mean? It's a
hey, that's an interesting. Yeah, appreciate the call. That's an interesting perspective. I never thought about that. Yeah, Vooch and Evan Fournier are really close. I don't know if they're neighbors or not. I don't know if they're that good of, you know. I don't know if they live in the same neighborhood, but yeah, they both just got kids. They both are recently wedded. And yeah, I never even thought about that. Hell, I remember way back when the Magic had Dwight Howard, and he was close to, who was it? Courtney Lee, I believe. And the Magic traded Courtney Lee after they went to the finals, and Dwight Howard wasn't happy about that. And Dwight Howard, obviously, in a year or two, forced his way out of town. Never thought about that. That's a really good call. Because, I mean, we just talked about how these guys, you know, grow connected to a community. Well, they also grow connected to their teammates and their friends. And Evan Fournier and Vooch are close friends. But these guys are pros. They know how the business works, as Adam said earlier. So, but good call. And that wasn't the Magic Tom that usually calls us. That's a different Magic Tom.
There's more than one Magic Tom?
Well, the Magic Tom that used to call us was like the ultimate Magic fan. And nothing the Magic did was ever wrong in the eyes of Magic Tom. I mean, he was you know, do or die. He was thick or thin. He was with the Magic.
Well, this is Magic Tom 2.0.
Yeah.
This guy coattailing off of the original Magic Tom's success.
Well, I asked Austin if it was Magic Tom, and he asked the guy, is this Magic Tom? And he said yes. So I guess he just figured, hey, I'm a Magic fan. I can be Magic Tom too.
Either that or he's on her way to a kid's birthday party. He's actually a magician. Hey, that's my name, Magic Tom.
We're all Magic Tom.
All right, spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
All right, it's National Joe Day. All right. And what does National Joe Day mean? It means they are honoring whoever does these national days. They are honoring people named Joe.
Honoring Joe Mama.
Joe Mama, yeah. We want you to text in, you know, famous Joes or your favorite famous Joe. We also have a poll on this. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game in honor of today being National Joe Day. Which of these famous Joes is your favorite? I think we have Joe Biden, the president, Joe Montana, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Joe Walsh, one of the great lead guitarists of all time with the Eagles, or we have Cup of Joe. Cup of Joe.
Good old Cup of Joe.
I'm going to go, to me, it's either, I don't really like Joe Montana that much. I think he was overrated, great quarterback. I'm going Joe Walsh or Cup of Joe on this one. Probably Cup of Joe, because without Cup of Joe, I couldn't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and survive.
Listen, there's only one of those Joes that I lean on every single day to get me through the day, and that's Cup of Joe. All right?
Yeah.
Cup of Joe's been there for me through thick and thin, hard times, good times, through it all. Cup of Joe is the winner here.
I agree. But go vote at 96.9 The Game. We also have another poll up. All right, I want you guys to do me a favor. All right, you guys are both at computers. I want you to go to ESPN.com. All right, can you do that for me?
Yeah.
Click on ESPN.com for me. All right, front page, sports page. You got it? You guys there?
Yep.
Yep, we're here.
All right, so across the top of the page, obviously they usually have scores up at the very top or whatever. All right, but then they have the little red ESPN banner on the left-hand side. All right? You got that?
Yeah.
All right, give me what it said to the right of that. What does it say?
MLB. It goes MLB, NCAA, F for college football, I would imagine. NFL, MMA, NBA, and soccer.
Okay, so
Wait.
all right, so it's different for everybody then, because mine says NFL, NBA, MLB, NCAA, F. What's yours say, Adam?
Mine says NFL, NBA, soccer, NCAA men's. I don't know, NCAA women. I feel like
That would be basketball.
Basketball. Yeah. No. Mike. Welcome to the information age, my friend. Welcome to how the world works. Welcome to algorithms.
These are the cookies, man. They've been following you.
Mike.
So our poll isn't even accurate.
Oh no.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
You get the long version.
But yeah, Mike's still one of those guys who thinks like his phone is tapped. Like, oh my gosh, the government's listening to my conversations because I was just talking 20 minutes ago about
how I was in need of toilet paper,
and I
now
see an
I've got
ad for
ads
Charmin. I don't understand how this is happening.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, so the poll I came up with this morning, what's it say that even during the NCAA tournament, the ESPN.com still puts the college football story index on its front page and not college basketball?
That just means you've clicked on college football a lot here recently.
I click on college football every day.
Every day,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, every day. Or
So
like more than once a
So
day.
ESPN.com is saying, hey, you know what this guy likes more than anything in the world? Even
College
more
football.
so than the college basketball tournaments. It's college football. Let me put it front and center for him right here.
Okay, but over the last few weeks, I've clicked on college basketball more than like Major League Baseball. Why is MLB still up there?
Is it in front
Answer that
of?
one.
Yeah, where is it ranked? Where is it?
Major League Baseball is it's got NFL,
Okay.
NBA, MLB. Again, they're not ranked in order because I click on college football much more than I do MLB.
I would imagine that they have the staples, the top three, which is NFL, MLB, and NBA, as up there for everybody, just in a different order, and then the peripherals, the extracurriculars, which is college football, college basketball. I bet those change up for people. Like MMA is up there for me
Because you click on it.
because I click on it.
Mine's soccer. I have the soccer one on
Right? Yeah.
Is
I don't
MMA your
understand
third?
these cookies.
It's like fourth. So
I don't understand these cookies and these algorithms.
Mike,
okay?
they're following you.
Yeah.
They're watching you.
Dude,
All of
honestly,
them.
like you should say thank you. You know what it is? Because like for me to normally get to soccer, I would have to click on the more sports, drag it down,
the little dots.
search
Yeah, they have the little dots.
for. Yeah, you know. And now they've said, hey, listen, you know what? I can tell you like soccer. I got you, buddy.
Don't you worry. I'll get you what you
Listen,
want.
I'm listening while you're sleeping. I know what you like. Wait, what? I'm being stalked by my own computer.
Anyway, go vote on the poll anyways, even though it's not accurate. All right, at 96.9 The Game. Straight ahead, all right, we're going to get back into the NBA trade deadline. I wrote a column in today's Orlando Sentinel about Aaron Gordon. You can go read that right now if you want, all right?
Plug.
Thank you. And we're going to discuss that next on Open Mic.
Open Mic with Mike Bianchi.
Austin Pistolka has the retention level of a Pekingese.
Oh, I know what you wanted. Here, I got it.
I mean, there's been times where I just express my frustration to management. Frustration with the losses, the injuries, the way we've been playing, how we've been playing, and how many losses have accumulated over the years. So, it's just my frustration kind of boiling over, I would say. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment with me, of frustration.
Sorry, Mike, I was too frustrated over teaching you how Twitter works! Ah! All right,
That was Aaron Gordon, obviously, 2 nights ago, explaining why he has requested a trade from the Orlando Magic. He will probably get his wish granted today at the NBA trade deadline. So I do a notes column every Wednesday that appears in Thursdays. Thank you. Appears in Thursday's Orlando Sentinel. You can read that right now at orlandosentinel.com. Well, my lead note was about Aaron Gordon's trade request and his quote about the frustration level. And obviously, as we discussed yesterday, I don't think anybody can legitimately begrudge Aaron Gordon wanting to be traded. Yes, he's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. The fans are frustrated. Again, it's been a frustrating last 7 years for the Orlando Magic with all the injuries, all the losses. Aaron Gordon has only played on one winning team in 7 years. And again, let me just stress this. I don't blame Gordon for wanting out of Orlando. I don't blame him. I mean, he's been here 7 years. He's played for 5 different head coaches. All of those head coaches have a different idea about what his skill set is and what position he should play. But I did bring up this point, and I brought it up yesterday on the air. Let's not forget, okay, that Aaron Gordon, he's also been part of the problem as well, all right? He was the number 4 overall pick. He does have as much athletic ability as just about anybody in the league, but he's been wildly inconsistent. He's not developed into the all-star that many think he has the athleticism to become. Now, is that the Magic's fault or is that Aaron Gordon's fault? And again, this is philosophical debate here. Is it the Magic's fault or is it Aaron Gordon's fault? I think Aaron Gordon deserves at least part of the blame for the Magic's frustration level over the last 7 years, which brings us to our thought-provoking daily poll. Austin?
In relation to Bianchi's column in today's Orlando Sentinel, how much of the blame does Orlando Magic forward Aaron Gordon deserve for the franchise frustration that has caused him to request a trade? All of the blame! Most of the blame, some of the blame, or none of the blame.
I'm going to go some. I mean, again, he's been on a losing team, and he's had coaching turnover and GM turnover. But I don't know that Aaron Gordon is. I don't know that he's the hardest worker in the world. I don't know how committed he is to his craft. Again, I think Aaron Gordon has the potential to be better than he is. So I'm going to go some of the blame. What do you guys say?
No, I would definitely say some of the blame. I mean, he's got to look within himself and ask, listen, did I give them what they expected out of me over these 7 years? And I asked that question yesterday. If this was a stock, would you be cutting a loss at this point in trading Aaron Gordon?
I need to cut some losses after yesterday on the NASDAQ. I'll tell you that.
But and maybe that's what the Orlando Magic are thinking. And listen, you're trading for something else, whether it's Marcus Smart and some future draft picks or maybe another deal that may be out there. He deserves some of the blame. And I what would be interesting is if an organization ever came out and goes, yeah, we're thinking about trading this player because we're kind of frustrated, with losing with him on the team. the way that Aaron.
I wonder if the Magic front office and coaching staff, I wonder if they could have the same quote that Aaron Gordon had about Aaron Gordon. Like, yeah, we're frustrated with how Aaron Gordon hasn't panned out like we thought he was going to.
You know, it's funny
right?
because there was kind of that with Mo Bamba, except it happened after he got real jacked. It was like, it's really good to see Mo Bamba now taking it seriously. So we don't get those quotes unless he all of a sudden turns it on, kicks into another year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty interesting, but again, I do believe Aaron Gordon's going to be traded today. The more I think about it, though, I'm not buying the Celtics deal. I don't think the Celtics are going to give up 2 first-rounders and Marcus Smart. Do you? I mean,
for Aaron Gordon?
Evan Fournier would be part of the deal.
Part of that deal. I forgot. Yeah, well,
yeah.
I mean, listen, Evan Fournier the last 2 nights is holding up his end of trying to get as good a deal as possible for the Magic. I mean, the guy's out there balling, right? Right now you're looking around the league going, hey, I'll take this Evan. I think to me, Evan Fournier is a guy more so than Aaron Gordon. Is if I'm trading for those 2 guys, I'm probably more trading for the skill level of Evan Fournier than I am the athleticism of Aaron Gordon, and that's what those guys give. One guy's I think more skilled than the other,
but you guys heard the reports that Aaron Gordon is having second thoughts on being traded, right? You guys heard?
No.
Woj reported that he's having second thoughts on leaving Orlando. That was the talk all afternoon yesterday, and so maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why Evan Fournier is hitting the game winner and Aaron Gordon is not.
Or maybe that's just a ploy on the Magic's part, saying, "Hey, why don't you say this? It'll increase the demand for you." Right?
Maybe
Could be that.
Could be.
There's all sorts of things going on behind the scenes with agents right now, leaking stuff to Woj. I mean, this is a time where there's a lot of misinformation and sort of agendas out there right now. All right, straight ahead, I want to know if you guys are among the growing trend. A study has been done saying most young sports fans prefer highlights to actually watching real games. We're going to discuss that next on Open Mic.
Absent.
I just went back and read the story that Austin Pastolka was referring to, that Aaron Gordon is having second thoughts about wanting to be traded, and I don't believe it. I don't believe anything that happens before I don't believe most anything that teams say or agents leak out there either before the NBA before drafts, because NFL, NBA GMs will lie through their teeth before drafts and try to get misinformation out there about which way they're leaning, all of that. Also, before the trade deadline, agents will leak stuff out, teams will leak stuff out. And again, I'm not buying that Aaron Gordon is having second thought. I think it's either one of two things. The Magic have leaked that out there, all right, to try to increase the demand for Aaron Gordon, or maybe it could be this. Here's my other conspiracy theory. Maybe the Magic aren't getting the offers that they want for Aaron Gordon, and maybe they don't have a deal, and they're trying to save Aaron Gordon's reputation among Orlando Magic fans by saying, oh, he's having second thoughts. He really wants to stay in Orlando.
How much
he really
more do
wants
they
to be
want? How much more do they want? This sounds like what
do you mean?
This was my frustration with.
What do you mean? How much more do they want?
I mean, they're getting a good player, reportedly getting a good player from Boston and a couple
That's
first-round
misinformation
picks.
too.
How is all of this misinformation?
It's all misinformation.
You're saying
we don't know
Woj doesn't have sources?
We don't know what First of all, the Boston deal did not come from Woj. It came from like some guy at Action Network, whatever the hell that is. All right, the Woj hasn't reported the Boston Celtics deal. So again, I think a lot of this is misinformation. Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Smoke screen.
Yeah. You always have smoke screens before the trade deadline or before any draft. There's always smoke screens. So, anyway, real quick, I wish we had a sound. We need to get a sound effect for when we call somebody an idiot, all right? I don't know what the sound effect would be. But before we get into the main topic here, this guy is an idiot, all right?
Okay.
So, I was reading the story last night. There's a high school coach in Massachusetts who was fired a couple days ago because he was using anti-Semitic language in his play calling.
What?
All right? Yeah, he had a play, I guess, called Auschwitz.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Auschwitz, which, of course, is a concentration camp in Germany. I didn't visit Auschwitz. I visited Dachau, another concentration camp in Germany, and yeah, it's chilling to go to those places. And so the school fired him. He had Auschwitz, and he was using some other anti-Semitic words. I mean, don't you have to be an idiot to do that? You almost have to be trying to get fired, right?
Yeah, or you're one of those. You're just one of those people that just love to do something really stupid. You do something really stupid and then claim you're a victim. You know, like, I mean, have you seen the people that refuse to wear masks, even though it says right on the front door, like, hey, wear a mask, and then when they get thrown out of the place, they're like, hey, you're violating me. What about my freedom of speech? What about my? It's like, listen, just don't do it. I like weigh it out in your head. Listen, I've got this play. We're going to run this play, and we're going to call it Auschwitz. And then like say it out loud. I mean, say it out loud. I mean, not that he's never not said it out loud because he calls the play. But you can't be that dumb. I just refuse to believe somebody is that dumb.
I do too. Yeah. If he is that dumb, then he is truly an idiot. Go look up the definition of idiot or imbecile. That's what this guy is, if indeed he is truly.
Did he give any explanation? Did he? I mean, anything at all? No, I mean,
the story I read, there were no quotes from the coach. There were just quotes from like the school administration saying that this is deplorable. You know, the usual stuff. All right, another story I was looking at. Variety, I don't even know if it's a magazine anymore. It's a website, Variety, all right? So they did a study. They commissioned a study, and it was released a couple days ago, and it said that 48% of NFL fans, 54% of NBA fans, and 58% of Major League Baseball fans, and these are young fans between the ages of 18 and 34. So 48% NFL, 54% NBA, 58% of fans between the ages of 18 and 34 say they prefer watching highlights of their favorite teams in sports over the actual games. Meanwhile, only 20% of older NFL fans, that's age 35 to 49, say they feel the same way, but almost half of NBA and MLB fans, older fans, say that they also prefer highlights over the real game. So I'm just curious because I totally see this. I mean, I don't watch, like football is what I watch. I watch college football games, all right, because there's no college football red zone, all right? But NFL games on Sunday, I don't watch the games. I have the red zone channel on. So again, I wonder how this is going to affect or why this is. I mean, Austin, I know that you're a highlight guy. I mean, you fit right into this age category.
Absolutely, I'm a highlight guy. I think this is the curse of fantasy sports. I think this is because fantasy football, nobody actually cares about their favorite team anymore. They care about their fantasy team. I mean, football especially. That's why the Red Zone channel exists. It's because fantasy football, what's it about? It's about the scoring plays. It's about the big plays. Nobody really cares about the regular in-between plays anymore. It's all about the highlights, and I think that just comes from fantasy sports in general.
Oh, that's a good take. Because, again, you're right about the NFL, at least in my experience.
I mean, even in other sports, Major League Baseball, fantasy baseball isn't what it once was, or fantasy basketball this year isn't exactly what it was. But even then, it's all about the highlights. Who scores the most points? Who has the biggest moments?
I also think it's about this. I mean, in society today, we are a convenience based. Give it to us in the best package you can. I mean, think about like weight loss and everything else like that. Like if I'm going to tell you about something to lose weight, you don't want to hear like, hey, in 6 months you can do this.
Right.
You want 6 weeks, right? So I want to be able to watch a game.
6 days.
Give me the magic pill.
7 minute.
What's the secret?
I want the 7-day fast and just lose it all at once.
But that's how we are. So instead of watching a 4-hour football game or 4-hour baseball game, whatever long those are, you're going to give me the entire game. You're going to give me all the numbers I need. I mean, think about us in this industry. There was a time when you first started, Mike, you invested a lot of time watching games.
Yeah.
Then you said, well, wait a minute. I can just watch SportsCenter 2 hours before the show and see all the games. Every play that anybody's going to want to talk about today, I can watch in a 45-second clip on ESPN.
Go to YouTube. You can go to YouTube, get any highlight you want.
When I started at 96.9 The Game, I thought that I had to watch every single thing, and then I got trashed because on air, I got trashed on our text line constantly because they're like, how do you not watch the games? Because I don't have to anymore. Because SportsCenter, ESPN is so good at giving me what I need to talk about it. It's incredible. Why would I waste my time watching the stuff I don't need to watch? You know what I mean?
Now, what I do watch, and again, I don't stay up till the end of the game a lot of times. I'll at least start watching just about every Magic game, just because I know we're going to talk about them a little bit the next day. And I'll, obviously on college football Saturdays, I'll watch the Gators or UCF. I'll sit down and watch the entire games of those teams. But yeah,
I watch my favorite teams. I'll watch a Packer game. I'll watch a Husker game. I'll watch a Magic basketball game for a while. But everything else, Highlight City.
Yeah. All right, we do have a poll about this. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game. We want to know, do you watch real games, or are you part of the growing trend of people who just watch the highlights. All right, we're going to pause right now for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet this morning. We're going to start off this time not on the front page of YouTube, but we're going to start off with a story that I talked about a couple days ago that has had more twists and turns than the greatest roller coaster of all time.
Oh my goodness, this is a Cinnamon Toast
Crunch shrimp. Okay, so a couple days ago I talked about a guy who found what appeared to be shrimp tails in his Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Okay, and there was a big Twitter thread between him and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Them saying there's no way this could happen. There's no cross contamination.
They said it was coagulated sugar or something. Or,
right.
Yeah.
Well, this guy had more back and forth with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and is at one point
I think it was General Mills.
General Mills. Yeah. At one point, he was saying that he was going to sue General Mills for gaslighting him, for saying that he was lying. But then, even more twists and turns later, we find out he's married to... Do you know who Topanga is from Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
He's married to Topanga.
I saw he was verified on Twitter, so I'm like, who's this dude?
And now the biggest twist of all is that he himself is being canceled because a number of famous actresses who used to date him are saying he is one of the most manipulative human beings on the planet, and that many of them have gone to therapy, and even one going as far as to saying last time she spoke with him, he said, quote, "I can't believe you haven't killed yourself yet."
Wow.
So
the twist and turn here I'm most interested in is the Topanga angle, which growing up, I mean, like she was definitely like in every young guy's top 5.
Absolutely.
And she wasn't like right fit either. Like she was like a normal looking, whereas like you had Kelly Kapowski who was like super hot.
Yeah,
she was like normal girl hot.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's been all the twists and turns of that with Cinnamon Toast Crunch and shrimp. We'll see where this ends up going.
Moral of the story, don't mess with CTC, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's right. That is right. Don't mess with the crunch, brother. Over on YouTube, though, trending all across YouTube because it is a YouTube original, Demi Lovato, Dancing with the Devil. She has opened up about her struggles with mental health problems, being in front of a camera for all of these years. So Demi Lovato, the YouTube original series, Dancing with the Devil, is up. It has a ton of views because, shocker, YouTube is pushing their own content. YouTube original. Happy birthday today to the one and only Elton John.
Hey, I've seen him in concert.
Nice.
Elton John. I've seen Elton John in concert. I'm gonna go Elton John, man. He's probably 75 today.
Oh man, my first inclination was to say 80.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's kind of old though, isn't it? I'm gonna say 80 anyway.
74.
75. Okay.
74 years old. And we're gonna finish up the front page of the internet.
I'm still standing. It's a great singer.
It's a great singer.
What song was that you were just singing?
I'm still standing. Better than I ever did. Feeling like a true survivor. Feeling like a little kid. Don't you know that I'm still standing after all this time?
That's the Elton John song that comes to mind when you think of Elton John?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, but
Hold me closer, tiny dancer.
What
It's not
that?
Tony Danza.
I remember when rock was young. Me and Susie had so
That's
much
pretty good
fun.
too. Actually, you know what's funny? I met somebody last weekend, and he's like, we're talking about what do you do for a living? And he's like, can you do me a favor and tell Mike, stop singing? And then like, so there I am singing. I drag Austin into it. Then Mike jumped into it. This guy's probably just, J-Dubs turned off the radio.
Benny and the Jets. Yeah.
All right, we're going to finish up the front page of the internet with a food crime, a crime against all things food, and this is
mayonnaise.
The Snickle. It's a
better not be.
It's the Snicker wrapped in a pickle.
Dumb. That's it.
And some people are loving it, some people are hating it, and I gotta tell you, not a fan.
Quick. Go on the internet and you find all the screen names and all the personal information of the people that I love this and get them off the streets. dangerous people.
Human beings.
That is the front page of the internet. All right, today is National Joe Day. All right. We want you to text in 50857 your favorite Joe. All right. Famous Joe, whatever, your favorite Joe. Somebody just texted in Sloppy Joe. That's a great one.
That's a good one.
That's a great one. Cup of Joe is the one I voted for. Obviously, the old-time baseball fans will probably text in Joe Dimaggio. If you're a liberal Democrat, you probably texted in Joe Biden. I'm sure that's what Austin voted for, Joe Biden.
I told you right now, man, Cup of Joe's been there way more than Joe Biden's been. I'll tell you that much.
Somebody else texted in, Adam made reference to wearing a mask, and of course, it's going to bring out the anti-mask crowd. Being made to wear a mask is like being made to wear pink skirts because someone told you it helps prevent the spread. Then they make it mandatory. Yeah. There you go.
I more look at it like it's like being told you have to wear your seatbelt.
Yep.
To be fair, like I said, I needed the anti-mask crowd around when somebody was saying, we should limit the speed that people can drive. Where was all this energy when I now have to drive as slow as everybody else because it's safer this way? Oh yeah. Where was all this energy when I needed you guys and girls?
Somebody just texted in Joe Camel. Oh, no, Joe Camel.
No.
He convinced kids to start smoking unfiltered cigarettes. No. Sound effect for
Joe
idiot.
For that. I got my answer for that.
Yeah. God, my mom used to smoke Camels, Lucky Strikes, Pall Malls, all of these non-filtered cigarettes. Yeah, in fact, when we were kids, we didn't even want to steal. Like, sometimes you'll steal the cigarettes and take them out back and try to. You wouldn't even want to steal my mom's cigarettes. They were so bad. I mean, there's nothing worse than an unfiltered cigarette, is there? Good Lord.
It's like a shotgun.
Lucky Strike.
Lungs,
Lucky Strike. LSMFT. I still remember that was on the side of the package of Lucky Strike, LSMFT. You know what that stands for?
Lucky Strike. Can't say it on radio. Tobacco?
No, there is another saying that people used to say that LSMFT stood for, but Lucky Strike, LSMFT stands for Lucky Strike, means fine tobacco. Yeah. Sound effect for idiot. Somebody texted in Napoleon Dynamite saying idiot in the movie. Idiot. Yeah, we need to get that sound drop.
Mike, you know who's the best at trying to not appear like an idiot? Is Austin. Because Austin, a lot of, like, you and I will talk about something and he'll he'll
act like he knows what we're talking
absolutely.
About. So there was during a break there was a highlight. I was excited. Ian Poulter crushed Rory McIlroy in match play yesterday, 6-5. Right?
And I got real excited for him.
So Rory McIlroy hits one in the pool. That's how I draw him in. We're like laughing about this, and I go, yeah, my boy Poulter rolled him up 6-5, and he looks at me and gives me like this nod, like, oh yeah, man, that's awesome. I go, do you have any idea what 6-5 means? And he goes, no.
Nope.
So in golf,
I don't know, but you seem real excited about it.
In match play, when somebody beats somebody 6-5, that means they had a 6-hole advantage on them, and there's only 5 holes left to play.
Oh, okay.
So they're done. Yeah, so they're done. So they don't even play anymore at that
makes
point.
Sense.
Yeah. That's an early day at the office, right? Remember the time, was it Stephen Ames was talking about Tiger, and then it got matched up with him, and Tiger beat him like 10-9 or 9-8 or something. I mean, literally, the guy took a rain check for those next 9 holes. It was crazy.
Oh, wow. Wow. Real quick, I don't know if we'll get to this later in the show. I wanted to give a shout out. Did you guys read the story about the New England Patriots offensive lineman who was in a park in Arizona, all right? And he saw a sexual assault happening in the middle of the day in this park, all right? And he goes and he saves this 71-year-old woman from being sexually assaulted by this 30-year-old guy. And he essentially pulls the guy off of the woman and essentially just holds him there because the guy, what's the guy's name? He's a backup offensive tackle, Justin Harden, all right? And he pulls the guy off the 71-year-old woman and just holds him there until the police get there.
That's awesome.
Good for him.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good for him.
I thought the story was going to go like, he pulls this guy off the older woman there and goes, Kelly Winslow? Why didn't we play together?
Oh, no.
What are you doing?
Wow. All right, straight ahead, but don't go anywhere because we have your chance to double your stimulus. But after that, we're going to get into the sound off where we hear from all the most important people in the sports world. That's next on Open Mic.
Your chance to win.
Sound Off brought to you by March Madness. It rolls on into the Sweet 16. All your action right here on FM 96.9 The Game, your home for the NCAA tournament. Our coverage is powered by Westwood One. Austin?
Sound off. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no way to gauge that. I mean, I'll be honest, the veteran guys, it's every year. And don't take this personally, but I think a lot of them don't even read it. So, they talk to their agents and like that. But I don't think many coaches get caught up in it. And I think a lot of players understand that the large majority of the rumors are basically unfounded. So I don't think it's that big a deal.
That's Magic coach Steve Clifford talking about trade rumors and how the team handles those trade rumors, and basically saying, they don't think about it. Well, it's pretty easy to say in most years when there really aren't such hard rumors for guys like Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier. Mike, do you think Steve Clifford is speaking the truth that the guys don't think about it, or do you think this is a cloud weighing on the team?
No, I think he's right, because we talked about it earlier that most of the rumors and rumblings out there are just smoke screens and they're unfounded. But in the case of Aaron Gordon, obviously that's not a smoke screen. He's requested a trade. The Magic are obviously shopping him. Evan Fournier's a natural. His contract expires after this season. So those guys, yeah, I think they think about it. I mean, we played a clip earlier, and we'll play it again later in the show of Evan Fournier talking about, hey, if last night was my last game with Orlando, this city has meant a lot to me. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are people. They have connections within the community. So, yeah, I think they think about it.
Sound off. Losing is extremely frustrating, but when you go from losing to making the playoffs and you go through what we've been through, you start. You create bounds that last for a very long time, and that's why I'm really attached to the coaching staff, the players. So yeah, I'm having a great time here. So we'll see.
That's Evan Fournier.
Was he getting choked up there?
He was getting choked up talking about his time here in Orlando. When you really take a look at what he's accomplished, he and Vooch have accomplished here, going from a very bad losing team to making the playoffs. Do we need to give Evan Fournier a little more credit?
Back to a very bad losing team?
Yeah, true. But do we need to give Evan Fournier some more credit than we've given him? Adam,
go ahead, Adam. This is your.
I'm sorry. I mean, credit. I mean, this team has never been really a 500, better than 500 team.
They were 42-40 2 years ago.
42-40.
Yeah.
Okay. So they barely scraped over 500.
According to our standards,
that's as good as it gets right there. I'm not giving anybody credit for being average. Okay. No. I mean, listen. I think Evan Fournier is a decent basketball player, and I think if he's on a basketball team with a couple of other really good players, he could be a really nice piece for somebody. But unfortunately, here in Orlando, he normally only had one good player around him. And
I'm going to give him credit. I'll give him credit. He does. I'll give him credit in this respect. All right. Aaron Gordon's getting all the publicity about, are the Magic going to trade Aaron Gordon? Should they trade Aaron Gordon? Over the last 7 years, both of them have been on the team for 7 years. I contend that Evan Fournier is a bigger loss to the Orlando Magic than Aaron Gordon would be.
Easily.
So in that respect, I do give him some credit.
Sound off.
I've been devalued, I've been disrespected, and dismissed because I am a woman. And I've been told that I don't deserve any more than less because I am a woman. You see, despite all the wins, I'm still paid less than men who do the same job that I do.
That's Megan Rapinoe. She was at the White House talking about how she has been devalued because she is a woman, continuing on the fight for equality with pay and all that sort of stuff. Mike, Megan Rapinoe, clearly very outspoken, but what do you think about all this?
Well, she's right. I mean, yesterday was National Equal Pay Day. That's why she was at the White House. and talking about how women need to be, if they're doing the same job as men, they need to be paid equally. And she's right. And this debate has been going on for a couple of years now, that the U.S. men's national team makes more money in general than the women do. Why? Because men's soccer is more popular worldwide than women's soccer, but the men's U.S. national team, not more popular than the women's U.S. national team. All you have to do is look at the NCAA basketball tournament and the disparity between the men's tournament and the women's tournament to know that what Megan Rapinoe says is absolutely correct.
Sound off. No disrespect to LeBron or Giannis or anybody. James Harden might be the best basketball player in the world, period. Listen, James has made some... that style in Houston was never going to win, but he has adapted and changed. I think he is a little bit better defensively, but for them to win games without KD and without Kyrie, you got to give that man some credit. And like I say, he is the most awesome offensive player I've ever seen. Listen, Michael and Kobe were better players from the guard standpoint, but as far as offensively, they couldn't shoot threes like him. They were not as great as dribbling the basketball, going to the basket, getting fouled. But we got to give that guy credit, man. He is an offensive machine, plain and simple.
You heard Charles Barkley, Adam. Is James Harden the best player in the NBA?
No, but so he started off way off course, right? Like heading straight for the iceberg there, and then he navigated into the waters that he needed to be in, which is, this guy might be one of the greatest offensive players ever in this league. That I can co-sign. That I can get behind.
How about Elgin Baylor, huh? How about Elgin Baylor, who just passed away? What about the Big O, Oscar Robertson? All right, we forget about the old timers.
That's because they weren't on ESPN. We haven't seen those guys.
Let me see some highlights of those
but listen,
guys.
put him in that category. But to compare him as a basketball player, all-around basketball player with LeBron, I mean, again, I just think that it is such LeBron fatigue, and I think people, as soon as you said no disrespect to LeBron, I knew right away somebody was about to disrespect LeBron. Okay, and I mean, listen, James Harden offensively, I'm with you, co-sign it. Yes, one of the best. But as a complete basketball player, not even close, really, with LeBron.
Sound off. That's sound off for today.
All right, straight ahead. I actually agree with Urban Meyer on something. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
More Open Mic up next.
Cowardice, gutless, and wrong.
It was very
It is National Joe Day today. We want you to text in. Our spontaneous text question, is this your favorite Joe? Text it in to 50857. Austin, do you know who Jojo White is? Somebody just texted that in.
Jojo White.
Jojo White.
Can't say that.
Adam probably doesn't even know who Jojo White is. Do you, Adam?
Oh. I just tore out my headphones reaching for the mic. Jojo White. Was he the guy who originally started touchdown end zone celebrations or no?
No.
Okay.
No, that was, who was that? That was Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, Jojo White's a former point guard for, I think he played at Kansas in college, and then he played for the Celtics, I believe, for a while. Broadway Joe Namath, somebody texted in. Joe Mama, somebody texted in. Joe Frazier, somebody texted in. Don't let it amaze you when I beat Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier may come out smoking, but I ain't going to be joking. Yeah.
Our text line showing its age once again.
Joe Lewis, I'm sure, is in there somewhere.
No, Joe Lewis not in here. Smoking Joe Burnett, the former UCF cornerback / punt returner, is in here. Hall of Famer Joe Sewell, somebody texted in. 115 consecutive games without a strikeout. Wow. Front row Joe Nemechek, former NASCAR driver. And what about this one? Joseph in the Bible was faithful to God when he initially thought the Virgin Mary had cheated on him. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good boy,
Joe. That's a good one.
It's good Joe.
Can you imagine Joseph's friends were probably teasing him and all of this stuff? Good Lord. Yeah, that takes some faith.
Back in that day, it was probably a little worse than, oh, man.
Yeah.
Let me grab a rock real quick.
He just had to go with it because Maury wasn't around at that time for like the paternity test. Joe, I know what you should do about that. Oh, sure. She just woke up pregnant. You need to take her to Maury.
I guess originally, I think the stories. I shouldn't even be talking about biblical history. I think the story was, I think he was gonna like not marry her, and then the angel came and told him what was going on.
That is correct. They were going to divorce quietly, and then the angel came and said, "It's all good, bro."
Is that what it was?
You are not the
I was
father.
right.
You are correct.
What about me with my biblical knowledge?
I normally sit that one out when I'm watching Jeopardy. Old Testament. I was like, okay, well, I can go grab something to drink now.
Well, that's the New Testament.
Well, I mean, see, that's why I sit it out.
All right. I actually agree with Urban Meyer on something. So Urban Meyer had a press availability Zoom meeting with reporters a few days ago, and he was talking about NFL free agency. And he hasn't been in the NFL, obviously, very long, but he's already saying the way they do free agency stinks, especially when it comes to the legal tampering period. I don't know if you guys know how this works, but before the league starts its new year, teams, and it's not just during the pandemic, this is every year, teams just have 2 days to negotiate contracts with players, which means that deals must be struck remotely without the two parties actually meeting. Usually that's how it works. And Urban Meyer was asked, I don't know who the reporter was. I'm going to guess it was either Mike Duraco of ESPN.com or Mark Long of the Associated Press. They asked Urban Meyer about that a couple days ago. Why don't you play the clip of the reporter? I'll see if I was right.
Back to signing guys. I mean, you're not used to signing guys
that you haven't
met with. Obviously, in recruiting, you meet with those guys. So how much, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, but maybe trepidation or how much is that an issue with you at this point?
Yeah, that was awful. I don't agree with it, but no one asked my opinion. I guess the old days you could bring them in and meet them, have dinner with them, and you find out the football intellect, find out the character, find out that. So we had to do, the thing I found out is call someone who has a skin in the game, because they're going to not quite be, I don't see, honest isn't their appropriate word, but so we did a deep dive. Every guy that we signed, I have Ryan Stamper and Marcus Pallard. I call those guys our assessment guys. They did as much deep dive as we could. The ones like Malcolm that Charlie Strong recruited and knew, we were good. Roy Roberts, we did a deep dive into him, and it came back extremely positive. So that was to answer your question, that was awful. That I don't believe it should be that way. Not when you're making organizational decisions. I'm not sure how that rule came about, but to me, that's not good business.
Okay, that was Urban Meyer talking about you don't talk to people who have a skin in the game because they're not quite honest. Now, what about Urban Meyer talking about somebody not being quite honest? Anyway, but he makes a good point. I mean, what other business other than sports do you make these mega $1 million decisions, all right, without ever meeting the guy? Like, well, even company CEOs that make millions of dollars, they go to the company before they take the job and talk to all the board of trustees or whatever of the company to find out if you're going to be the new CEO. But in sports, you're just expected to sign mega $1 million contracts without actually meeting the people. Isn't that insane? Isn't Urban Meyer right?
I would wonder how this rule came about, and wondering if a guy was a free agent, right? Is it automatically a huge advantage to bring the guy in to, say, New York City if you're the Giants, versus bringing the guy to Green Bay if you're the Packers,
or Jacksonville,
yeah, yeah. I mean, to say, at least if the Jacksonville's like, yeah, I mean, you can bring him and hey, the weather's going to be great and the beach is going to be fine. My point is I wonder if this is a rule to say basically we have to level the playing field for all these teams. You know, if I'm a free agent and I'm going to meet somebody in New York City or Detroit, you know, just being in those places may impact part of your decision. And I wonder, again, he goes, I don't know where this rule came from. Frankly, neither do I, but somebody, or at least a lot of bodies, thought that, hey, we need to change this, or we need to adopt this as the way that we practice this. And I'd love to know where it came from, but some people, a lot of other people, thought it made a lot of sense, at least at some time.
Yeah, again, it makes. I don't care if you get a tiny bit of advantage. I mean, people know what New York is like. I mean, if these free agents want to know what the cities are like, they can visit them on their own. Again, I just, you know, a lot of times, you know, we complain about, you know, the guaranteed contracts in the NBA, and at least in the NBA, all right, you have a chance to fly these guys in and meet them, and you know there's a period, a wooing period. In the NFL, it's like, okay, sign the guy right now, sign him right now before you even meet him. I don't get it. Urban Meyer is right. These are organizational decisions that are going to shape the organization, the cap, everything for years to come. The coaches and the GM should at least be allowed to meet the players that they are investing in, for crying out loud. Anyway, am I actually agreeing with Urban Meyer on something? Wow.
I believe
that may be a first.
Wrong.
That may be a first, Austin Pistolka. You might want to write that down, all right, that I have actually agreed with Urban Meyer on something.
Mike, do you need to go get your temperature taken? Like, are you
right?
good?
Yeah. These are symptoms of something.
Yeah.
Right. I don't agree with him, though, bringing up the honesty issue.
Yeah. Well, you know why he answered it? Because in his subconscious, he goes, because if somebody asked me, I surely wouldn't be honest. That's how I know people aren't going to be honest. Because I wouldn't.
All right, coming up, if last night was Evan Fournier's last game with the Orlando Magic, at least he made it a memorable one. That's next on Open Mic.
Bianchi's got to get a quick
got Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, Austin Pistolka, the Sultan of Sound. Together we're Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we know as Central Florida. It's National Joe Day today. What does that mean? It means we are paying homage to people named Joe. So we want you to text in your favorite Joe, your favorite famous Joe, if you will. It could be Sloppy Joe, somebody texted in earlier. I love Sloppy Joe's down in Key West as well. Great place to go. Ernest Hemingway used to go there back in the day. All right, so text in your favorite Joe. All right, Austin Pistolka, do you know who Joe Bonamassa is?
Oh, Joe Bonamassa. I mean, I tell you, one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
No, he was a prodigy guitarist. He's still alive. He's a really good blues guitarist, Joe Bonamassa. Joe Gibbs, we all know who Joe Gibbs is. Joe Morgan, who just passed away recently, the great Cincinnati Red. Joe Cool. Joe Cool, is that an actual person or is that just a saying? Joe Cool.
Wasn't Joe Cool character Snoopy played?
What, in Charlie Brown?
Like in Charlie Brown, he would have the sunglasses on. I think he had like a scarf
Is that
on.
Joe Cool?
Joe Cool.
Huh. Actually, somebody just texted in. Yeah, Joe Cool, a.k.a. Snoopy. Yeah. Joe Pesci. That's a good one.
Great Joe. That's a great Joe.
Yeah. Say It Ain't So, Joe Jackson, Shoeless Joe Jackson. What about the great, what was Joe DiMaggio. Somebody texted in as well. Here's to you, Joe DiMaggio. The nation turns its lonely eyes to you. Woo, woo, woo.
Can I give you a Joe? Can I give you a Joe that is not that as famous as these people, but he was famous. And he actually ties in a cup of Joe. His last name is Coffee, Joe Coffee. He's since passed away, but he's a friend of mine's dad who we went to Vegas for his dad's 75th birthday. He's 75 years old, and I'm in the sports book, and I'm chatting with him, and I'm going, man, this guy, like I feel like I know this guy from somewhere, but I just can't place it. So we talk for about an hour, and then I leave, and then I see his son, and I said, dude, I think I've met your dad somewhere, but I don't know where. It'd be impossible. He's from New York City. And he goes, well, do you ever watch A&E, mob documentaries? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, my dad was the head of the New York City organized crime unit. And he brought down like these famous mob families. And he was always featured. Always featured on these documentaries. And then also, speaking of Joe Frazier, when Joe Frazier fought Muhammad Ali at Madison Square Garden after the fight was over, and they're ushering Joe Frazier back to the locker room, there's video of Big Joe. Joe Coffey is the police officer, one of the police officers, that was escorting him back to the locker room after the fight was over. So Joe Coffey. That's cool. One of my favorites.
As long as we're paying homage to Joes that we know. How about my stepdad, who really wasn't my stepdad, all right? He wasn't married to my mom, but everybody knows my story about, my dad left my mom when we were really young, left my mom with 7 kids, single mom, and then Joe Green comes on the scene, and Joe Green and my mom, they were together. I don't know how long they were together, maybe 10 years, but yeah, Joe Green, he was sort of a stepdad. To me, I believe he passed away.
Wait, your stepdad played for the Steelers?
I was going to say.
No, not me, Joe Green. I wish he had. No.
only when you guys were grounded did you call him Mean Joe Green. Mean Joe Green, you're not my father. You can't ground me.
All right, the Orlando Magic. Give me a little magic music, please. We don't get to play it much anymore. Yeah. Woo! Woo, yeah. Ho, 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 ho! Orlando Magic! Yeah! Beware now! Who's gonna get you? Bum, bum, bum! Hey! I'll tell you what, if last night was Evan Fournier's final game with the Orlando Magic. Kudos to him. At least he made it memorable. He hit the off-balance, game-winning driving layup, a little scooperoo with 6 seconds left. Then he had a hand on the final defensive stop as the Magic beat the Phoenix Suns 112-111 last night. Give me some highlights, Austin.
MCW on the attack, spinning, firing it up. It is no good. He rebounds his own miss. Trying to go back up again. Count the basket and a foul. He would not be denied. Vucevic backs in. Double team, spins away. Knocks it down on a fadeaway J by Nikola Vucevic. Down by a point. Fournier and Vucevic pick and roll. Evan accelerates into the middle. Evan off the glass and in for the lead. 112-111. And a timeout by Phoenix.
The thing I liked about it is this: when you play the elite teams, it starts with competing with them. And, you could tell right from the beginning that our guys were ready to, we're all in terms of fighting for the win. And I think that's what we did for 48 minutes.
That was Steve Clifford, obviously, Orlando Magic head coach. Well, after the game, obviously, the NBA trade deadline is today, and Evan Fournier, one of the players rumored to be on the trade block, he may be traded today. And I want you to listen to this clip. I think it's pretty cool. All right, he's asked about being traded and if last night was his last game, and he just talked about his relationship with the Orlando Magic and the city of Orlando. Listen.
That's a question. I can answer that question for a very long time because, well, if I go into detail a little bit, and you look at my career. So I left my home. I left the apartment where I lived with my parents when I was 13, and since then I never stayed in one place for more than 2 years. So the fact that I've been here for 7 years. I had a son here. I got married. It means more than a lot because it's kind of hard to put words into it. I got traded here when I was 21 only. Now I'm a total different man. I'm a total different player. I have a lot of love for the franchise and people that work here, you guys included. So if it's the end, it's the end, but I obviously love the franchise and the city. So thank you for the question, but that was my short answer.
I love a guy who gives a shout out to the media. Hey, I'm going to miss you guys as well. You guys have been a lot. Again, just hearing that entire clip to me, and maybe I'm getting sentimental in my old age, but I got a little lump in my throat when I was listening to Evan Fournier talk about living here for so long, leaving France when he was 13 and never really having a home and establishing any roots anywhere. And then he comes to Orlando 7 years ago, and he said he feels a connection with the community, with the franchise. And again, a lot of times, and you see it on social media all the time, you hear it on sports talk radio, we just look at these guys like they are sort of pieces, all right, commodities that play for your team. You don't really consider, hey, they're in the community. They have families. They establish roots here. They establish connections at a place where they live. Their kids are born here and grow up here, and their wives and spouses make friends here and have a relationship and a network of friends. So it's kind of puts it in a different perspective to me that Evan Fournier, Evan Fournier, to me, and I said this earlier, I'll say it again, I'll reiterate it. We make a big deal about Aaron Gordon leaving, and I realize Aaron Gordon is younger and he's more athletic, but Evan Fournier, to me, has been a more valuable member of the Orlando Magic than has Aaron Gordon. Anybody agree or disagree with that?
Definitely agree. I think that at least with Evan Fournier, his highs and lows weren't as disconnected as Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's highs were really high. I mean, we saw it a couple times this season where a guy could score 30 plus, and you look at him and you go, he looks like what a really good basketball player should look like. And then there's nights where he scores 6. And you go, wait a minute, this is the same guy who scored 35 the other night? How could that possibly happen? At least with Fournier, it didn't feel like his highs were high, were that high, and his lows were that low. You know what I mean? Like the gap in between the two. So for that reason, at least he just felt like a more consistent option. And I think in this league, what you really want is a consistent basketball player. If they're not going to be great, then at least let them be consistent. And I don't think Aaron Gordon was either. Whereas I would think that Fournier was at least a lot closer to being a consistent NBA player, and that has value.
Yeah. All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for The Blast.
The Blast brought to you by Frank Gay Services. If you need an electrician or a plumber right now, go to frankgayservices.com. They will hook you up. Let's go with the open mic thought-provoking daily poll, which is this. In relation to Bianchi's column in today's Orlando Sentinel, which you can read right now at orlandosentinel.com.
Cheap plug.
How much of the blame does Orlando Magic forward Aaron Gordon deserve for the franchise, quote, frustration that has caused him to request a trade? All of the blame! Most of the blame, some of the blame, or none of the blame. Mike.
Well, he certainly doesn't deserve all the blame. And again, if you read my column, I'm not blaming Aaron Gordon for wanting to be traded. I don't think anybody should begrudge him that. He's been here 7 years. 6 of those have been losing seasons. He's played for 5 different head coaches. He's sort of been jacked around as to what position he should or could play. So, again, I don't blame Aaron Gordon, but as frustrated as he is and as frustrated as Magic fans are with the franchise right now and the direction of the franchise with all the injuries and losses and all of that, I think the franchise and the fan base is also frustrated with Aaron Gordon. I think they think he is at least part of the problem. He, as Adam just mentioned, he's been wildly inconsistent. He has not developed into the all-star. Many thought that he had the talent and athleticism to become. Now, you can blame that on whoever, but Aaron Gordon at least has to look in the mirror and say, I deserve some of the blame. I'm going some of the blame.
Yeah, I'd definitely say some of the blame. I mean, he can't be blamed for all of it. He's certainly not without blame. If you're you ain't part of the solution, you're part of the problem, okay?
Nice. Ooh.
Yeah, let's be honest. There's been no solutions here. So everybody's a little bit a part of the problem, so definitely some of it.
59% of the vote says some of the blame. Supplemental poll number 1. Should Orlando Magic fans be disappointed if the team doesn't make a major deal at today's NBA trade deadline? Yes or no?
Should they be disappointed? I'm gonna go no, they shouldn't be disappointed because, again, the Magic are going nowhere this year, and anything they get back is going to be, it's going to be like draft picks and maybe a player that has a chance to develop into something. So, again, draft picks never excite me, all right? Especially if they're non-lottery draft picks. So, no, I don't think Magic fans should be disappointed.
I would say yes, because Fournier is free agent after this season, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
And he made $17 million here last year. No way the Magic would sign him for that again, right? I can't imagine.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah, so I might, at the very least, as eloquent as Fournier was, you better get something for him while you can. So if you can trade him and at least get something out of him as opposed to losing him for free next year, then you do it. And if that's the one option that we have to at least gain something out of this trade deadline, then go for that.
Hey, you just heard Evan Fournier's eloquent speech about how much he loves Orlando and misses Orlando and how this has become like a second hometown. Maybe he'll give the Magic a hometown discount.
Take a 35% discount on that?
Yeah, we'll see about that. Yeah.
59% of the vote says yes, Magic fans should be disappointed. Supplemental poll number 2, which doesn't matter because it's it's just Mike being old.
Why don't you just go ahead and read it and explain what a buffoon I am?
What's it say that even during the NCAA tournament, ESPN.com still puts the college football story index on its front page and not college basketball? Was it just an oversight? Was it because the NCAA tourney isn't on ESPN? Is it college football just means more, or is it only Bianchi noticed? Well,
or
it's none of these.
It should say the last option should be: is it because Bianchi's a buffoon and didn't know that the click indexes at the top of the page were based on, what did you guys say? The cookies?
That's
Cookies and algorithms,
Yeah.
Customized
So everybody
for your
has different ones.
convenience.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No.
I thought everybody saw the same thing when they clicked on ESPN.com.
It's okay, Mike. Everybody learns sometime about the algorithm and how the government's watching us. Okay. For all intents and purposes, 42% of the vote with college football just means more wins this one.
See, a lot of our listeners didn't know either.
Uh-huh. That's it. Nobody commented either, so we're starting a conspiracy here. Supplemental poll number 3. Are you among the growing trend of sports fans who would rather watch highlights than real games? Yes or no?
It depends on the sport for me. Like baseball, obviously, I'm not going to sit down and watch an entire baseball game, but I do, during baseball season, I'll watch the baseball highlights, especially if we're going to talk about baseball on the show. College football, I watch entire games, whether it be UCF, Florida, FSU. I will watch those entire games. The Magic, I will watch their games. NFL, though, no. I watch the Red Zone channel, which I guess you could say is sort of like watching the highlights. It's just watching, when they get into the scoring zone. So I guess basically I would say yes. I'm part of that growing trend.
Yeah, no, I'd much prefer to watch highlights than a full game. One, it manages my time better. I'd rather get the most out of 10 minutes. If you're watching a nice, well produced highlight package on YouTube, than to have to spend 3.5 hours watching an entire game, which includes commercial breaks and all that other stuff.
With 81% of the vote, no, we're not part of this group.
Oh, wow. Good.
I think that's our old curmudgeon-y listeners going, why don't they watch all the sports?
I like the old school crowd.
Supplemental poll number 4. In honor of today being National Joe Day, which of these famous Joes is your favorite? Joe Biden, Joe Montana, Joe Walsh, or good old-fashioned Cup of Joe?
Well, the guitar solo in Hotel California, I meant with Joe Walsh and Don Felder on guitar as well. It's hard to beat Joe Walsh playing guitar with the Eagles on Hotel California, but I could survive without that. I cannot survive without old Cup of Joe, okay? Because as you guys know, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I didn't have a cup of Joe or multiple cups of Joe in the morning, I wouldn't be able to do my job. So I guess I could go to energy drinks or something like that. But I love a good cup of coffee, especially that first cup of coffee in the morning, that first cup of Joe. Awesome.
I didn't vote for Biden. I don't drink coffee. Didn't like Joe Montana. So I'll go with Hotel California.
Joe Walsh.
That's it.
There you go. Cup of Joe has been with me through thick and thin, and also gave us the greatest promo of all time.
When have you ever been thin? Come on.
All right,
there we go.
Through thick and thicker.
Yeah, through thick and thicker.
But it gave us the greatest promo of all time from Macho Man Randy Savage. Cup of coffee in the big time, brother. Ooh, yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage's Cup of Joe for me. 39.8%, we'll call it 40% of the vote says Cup of Joe.
There you go.
And finally, the open mic Would You Rather poll. Would you rather have comically large feet or comically large hands?
Easy.
Comically large feet or I'm going to go comically large. Oh, wow. I'm going to go comically large. I'll go feet. They're less noticeable, I think. Comically large feet are less noticeable. Whereas if you had comically large hands, you're always using your hands. I'm going to go feet.
I'd go with feet as well. Probably easier to pick up women. You know, like, look at the size of his feet. Oh, my God.
I thought it was hands.
I always heard feet when I was younger. I used that to my advantage because I always had large feet, you know. But because I have these tiny Burger King hands, you know what I mean? I got these like a little...
Tiny Burger King hands?
Yeah, like you never seen the commercial about the Whopper? Like the guy holding the Whopper? He's like, hey, man, you want to go get a Whopper? I can't, man. I got these little tiny hands. I do. I have little Burger King hands. But I've always called them Burger King hands. Like, I can throw a football, but if it rains and the football gets wet, I can't hold it. It'll like slip right out of my hand. It's terrible.
Like Danny Werfel can't throw a wet ball.
That's right.
With 52% of the vote, Giant Hands wins this one.
Wow. Real quick, Austin Pistolka, I'm getting out of the stock market, okay? I'm getting out.
You've been telling me that for weeks.
No, but now it's become an issue, all right? So I bought this stock, this Penn National Gaming, when it was kind of low. Hey, I'm getting a bargain here. And it just kept going down. Then I said, okay, I'm going to double it. I'm going to double my investment.
Buying the dip.
Then it kept and then it kept going down. I'm out. I am out of Penn National Gaming, all right?
What are you selling for a loss?
No, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it now just to see, but
you're still in.
Well, after it goes back up to where I can break even, I'm getting out and I'm out for good. See you later, stock market. So, anyway. All right. Who do we have next? Brandon Kravitz coming up next. He is our own Magic insider. We'll ask him what the Magic are going to do and what should they do at the trade deadline. The Cravs is next on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or sipping on a seltzer,
Ain't no laws when you're drinking clogs.
you're listening to Open Mic.
That is the walk-up music of Brandon Kravitz, our own Brandon Kravitz, host of In the Zone every weekday afternoon right here on this very station, FM 96.9, The Game, AM 740, HD 101.1-2, 3 to 6 p.m. You can hear Brandon Kravitz and Stefan on In the Zone. Kravs, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. This is an NBA trade deadline special kind of day here on 96.9 The Game. I'm all jazzed up. I woke up and just jumped out of bed, chugged my coffee right out of the pot.
All right, you can settle some debates for us this morning. You're as close to the Magic as anybody in local radio. You're part of the Orlando Magic radio crew. We all know that. All right, so we're talking a lot about Evan Fournier and Aaron Gordon today. I contend that over the last 7 years, Evan Fournier has been a more valuable member of the Orlando Magic than Aaron Gordon. Your thoughts?
Absolutely not. Aaron Gordon is a much better player than Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier is a better scorer, and I think he's provided more special moments, specifically at the Amway Center. This guy, I said this on the post game last night, in his run as an Orlando Magic player, nobody has been more clutch, specifically at that arena, in front of the hometown fans than Evan Fournier. So I can understand the perception there, but Aaron Gordon is a better player because Aaron Gordon can D up the best player on the other side, on the other team. And Evan Fournier is not a very good defender. So that, and the Magic have been, when they're decent, have been predominantly defensive driven. A lot of that comes from the defense of Aaron Gordon. If Giannis is in town, guess who's on Giannis? It's not Evan Fournier, it's Aaron Gordon. There's a lot of value in that, especially with the Steve Clifford coach team.
See, that's why we ask you these questions. You bring up very smart points. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't even think that defense was a thing in the NBA.
Yeah, defense. All right. The other question I wanted to ask you, this rumor or whatever you want to call it, that Aaron Gordon is having second thoughts about being traded by the Orlando Magic. I believe that to be a NBA trade deadline smokescreen. I don't know if the Magic are getting that out there. I don't know if it's a makeup call on Aaron Gordon's camp and his agent getting that out there. Do you believe Aaron Gordon's actually having second thoughts? I do not.
So it's funny. I was actually watching it was the preview to the NBA trade deadline special with Woj and Zach Lowe on ESPN. I happened to be watching it in the studio as I was show prepping yesterday when Woj said that. And Woj said it like it was just a thought that popped in his mind. He didn't say it like it was, I've been talking to people who say. It was just sort of a passing comment that everybody took and ran with. Now, it's a pretty strong statement to make, and Woj is well connected. I'm just telling you that in the moment, it just felt like something that came out of his mouth. It didn't sound legitimate, even though it came from the most legitimate source there is in Woj. So that was my initial impression, was that was nothing. But then, you think about it, okay, well, why did he wouldn't just say that? I think that there's some truth to this, because if Aaron Gordon says that part of the reason he wants to leave is because he wants to be on a winner, he wants a chance to improve his branding and marketing, and we know Aaron Gordon, all of that has to be true. He's a competitor and he cares about his Q rating. Well, then the rumors start coming out that Houston's interested, Minnesota's interested, Detroit's interested, and he's like, well, I'd rather suck here. Why would I want to go to Minnesota? No, don't trade me. If you're going to trade me to Minnesota, just keep me, please. So I think there might actually be some truth to that.
I have a conspiracy theory here. Again, I think on trade deadlines before drafts, there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. Here's what I think happened, all right? Aaron Gordon's camp, probably his agent, Woj gets much of his information from agents. His agent got it out there that he'd made the trade request, all right? And what happens when you make a trade request and it gets public? You actually drive down your trade value, all right? I think the Magic got upset that got out there. Hey, if you want to be traded, why are you driving down your trade value by having your agent leak this out? All right. So the Magic came back to him and said, you know what? You need to get it out there that maybe you're having second thoughts, and that gets your trade value back up. What do you think about that?
Or at least saying, hey, do you mind if you've just driven down your value? Do you mind if we try and drive it back up? And he's like, yeah,
Right?
sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, because I think there's a good relationship there. I don't think Aaron Gordon resents I think there's frustration, but you can have frustration towards somebody that you love. I think there's love there with Aaron Gordon and the Orlando Magic. He just wants to go elsewhere. Your theory is probably true. But at the same time, don't these guys around the league know how the game is played? I mean, if that's the case, then don't the Timberwolves or the Celtics know that that's what's happening? Why even pay attention to that? Who's that dumb?
Yeah, maybe.
And
right,
how much does that actually change the value too? I guess is another thing to think about. I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that.
All right, I want you to look into your crystal ball and tell me what you think is going to happen today. I think that whole Boston Celtics story is a bunch of rubbish. I don't think the Magic are going to get 2 first-round draft picks and Marcus Smart. But I want to know what you think. You're the insider.
Well, I mean, I'm as much an insider as you are, but I do appreciate that. I think the Magic are going to end up getting back a first-round pick and a player that you have to Google for Aaron Gordon. I think that's the most likely thing to happen. There were reports that they were looking at I'm forgetting his name in the moment. I think it's Jordan McDaniels, someone like that. He's played at Vanderbilt. He was in the first round of this year's draft, and and he plays for Minnesota. He's like a 5 point per game guy. There's a similar player that plays for Boston that was drafted in the 2020 draft, and there are reports of first round picks coming along with somebody like that. That to me, we all want what if Andrew Wiggins came, or what if the Magic got DeMar DeRozan or Kemba Walker? All of that stuff is what we gravitate
Kyle
towards.
Lowry's coming to town, and Norm
Exactly.
Powell too.
No, the Heat are getting all of those players. The Magic are going to end up getting some guy that you have to Google and a first round pick. And that might not be the worst thing in the world. It's just, I feel like we are set up for the dud of all duds. And his name, by the way, is Jaden McDaniels.
Will you be disappointed if they don't make a move today?
Yes, they have to do something.
Even if it's that move, even if it's the move you just mentioned, like who cares type move?
Yes, because let's say it's Minnesota. The Jaden McDaniels part is what people are going to talk about. If if an unprotected first round pick comes back from Minnesota, one of the worst teams in the NBA, that gets you right back into the lottery. That's how the Magic have to rebuild, is getting high draft picks and then picking the right player. That's how they're going to rebuild. Aaron Gordon is not going to be the reason this Orlando Magic franchise turns around. You've got to get more swings at the plate, and the plate for the Magic is top 5 pick in the lottery. So that's the most important thing to me today, is that the Magic find a way to get another draft pick so that they can get their Trae Young, their Luka Doncic, their Ja Morant. That guy needs to show up and wear a Magic jersey. Otherwise, we're going to continue having the same conversation every single year.
The NBA trade deadline, 3 p.m. today. Coincidentally, that's when In the Zone starts as well today, right here on FM 96.9 The Game. Kravitz and Stefan will break down the NBA trade deadline today. Is that not right, Brandon?
Oh, absolutely. Trade deadline special of the breaking news as it comes in. Kyle Lowry to the Heat, DeMar DeRozan to the Heat, LaMarcus Aldridge to the Heat, and Jaden McDaniels to the Orlando Magic. Here it comes.
Yeah, baby. All right, Krabs, we'll be listening this afternoon.
All right, thanks, guys.